I recently embarked on a journey of adventure, disruption, and uncertainty. 3 carefully measured ingredients I mixed with a little zest in this untrodden cocktail of association. Our first video, Dissociation, left us on the River Derwent. This adventure starts 30 miles northwest at Ilam Hall in the Peaks. I wake up early following being shaken to sleep by the congested walrus in the bunk above. I have a shower, check today's kit, and manage 2 servings of unlimited breakfast. I had a really great evening with a dear friend and getting to know some other walkers and backpackers at the hostel. You see, the original plan was for my friend and myself to do a few miles on the trail together, but she wasn't feeling too good and needed to rest. So a few miles with a friend turned into a few more miles by myself, closely mimicking the dynamics of our prequel. However, this time I was facing fear and acutely planning a complete change of lifestyle. There's a lot to unpack in this short video, so thanks for sticking around as I invite you into some deeply personal aspects of my life. Talking about fears, this place, Thorpe Cloud, a 287-meter limestone hill. I'm not scared of rolling my ankle or another angina attack. I'm scared of memories, and I'm ashamed of guilt. You see, the last time I was here, I was with her. She even asked to have this selfie at the hill's peak. But today, 2 other lovers embrace. Despite my emotional connection and admittedly a little closure, I can't help but appreciate the sheer majesty of what's in front of me. And that there is Ilam Hall. Look how far we've walked. Now, the fact that I have a collective sangha of Buddhist monks walking directly in front is not lost on me. I mean, how often does this happen? The reason it's peculiar is because to get over her, I needed to move away from the apartment in which she stayed with me. I decided to spend almost a year and a half living and practicing full-time at a Buddhist meditation centre tucked away in the British countryside. Only a handful of my friends, family and colleagues knew this about me. I've been pretty secretive about it. You know, as beautiful as the place was and the people were, it just wasn't for me. I like feelings too much, whether it's being happy or being sad. A dark pit of emotion can be where you find yourself at your most creative and resilient. Whilst here, I found myself writing a complete book of poetry about her, unwanting to detach, and songs begging for forgiveness. I have an album's worth of original material written about her. In fact, here's a snippet of a rough demo named July Roses.
I load my broken conscience on my back and told the mighty weight of things I said. I enticed you, left you wanting more, said I loved you, made you feel adored, made you fight me, then scrape me from the floor. And now to love you is to watch you from afar.
Spending so much time on closure and being ready to fully commit to a new person hasn't been easy. I was recently talking to one person who was everything I could wish for. She even told me 10 unprompted reasons of why she appreciated me and had the cutest dog ever. But after a short period of talking, she wasn't ready to talk on the phone. Maybe I'm too demanding, maybe I'm too old-fashioned, maybe I'm too intense, or maybe the bank of love no longer sees my genuine intentions as a valuable currency, or more to the point, as she initially said, maybe it just wasn't the right time. But I'm hoping there is a right time in the future. So talking about moving on, if coming on this little adventure in the Peak District has made me decide to move out of the Buddhist centre, then where am I going to live? And where will my daughter come and stay with me a couple of times a week? Well, those who know me will be aware that I converted a 17-seater minibus into a motorhome to live in, and years prior to that I lived in a caravan full-time. In fact, I've even converted 2 micro-campers. You can see where this is going. My budget may be small due to investing in a new business, but I'm not going to let that hold me back. I snapped up this 2-berth Eldis Avante for £2,600. Not only is it being extremely well maintained, but it's a model with many second-hand parts available for next to nothing. The selling point for me was the separate dressing room. With a good-sized wardrobe, shower and storage area, it's got all the usuals you'd expect, including an adjustable Thetford cassette toilet with a much bigger tank capacity than its predecessor which I lived in. Setting up an awning has not only presented me with a dry storage area, but it's almost doubled my living space. I pay a bit more for caravan sites with shower blocks, on-site shops and laundrettes, which just adds to a greater living experience. For there's something to be said about the differences between homelessness and making a conscious decision to be houseless. There's an aspect of accountability which abruptly confronts those who waste resources such as water, gas or electricity. Whether it's washing up or disposal of rubbish, you really do feel that you're doing your bit for the environment. Having to refill the fresh water tank or properly empty the grey water, even in the pouring rain. How can this be a chore when we're lucky enough to have an abundance of fresh water just a few steps away? The toilet is only used for liquids, but there's always a toilet block or two around. It's easy to romanticize nomadic living, especially in the whole van life movement. But looking at the nuts and bolts of it, if you look after your basic equipment, you can continue at such a relaxed pace indefinitely. My daughter was a huge factor in this decision. She loved having her own bedroom as any 10-year-old would, but she didn't like the Buddhist centre towards the end and often described it as a pantomime. And of course she loves watching van life and tiny living videos on YouTube. I didn't want every weekend to feel like a holiday for her, so it was important that she had structure, privacy when needed, and that added element of security, which comes from trusted membership sites. So that's where we're at. That's our journey of association. Remember, the journey's only just begun, and we'll see you soon.